Welcome back to a new week on Out of the Bubble podcast. Hope you all had a great week. I love the start of a new year. It's just like turning a blank page full of endless opportunities. And one thing that I always gain inspiration from talking to the guests and motivation, because they share so many inspiring stories and show us that it's never too late to start something new. And today's guest is another one of those examples. Last year I did the survey, the Midlife Body Confidence survey, which showed that 70% of women over 40 did not feel represented on the high street. So one of the things that I'm really keen to do this year on the podcast is to shine a torch on those brands and those independent brands and those startup businesses that are showing up for us, that are wanting to create fashion that we can all relate to, that we feel seen and visible in. And that's one thing that I'm really committed to doing. So I'm delighted to have Rebecca Rodden today, who is the founder of Eluroom. So we're going to be talking about how to create a well-being wardrobe. Rebecca really does believe that the clothes that you wear has an integral link to our mood and how we show up in the world, and completely agree with her. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with Rebecca to find out how this lady started in Ted Baker as a receptionist, 20 years later ended up as a buying director for Ted Baker, and then in 2020 decided to go it alone. Lots to share today. Grab a coffee, enjoy. So good morning, Rebecca. It's lovely to see you again. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Getting ready for
Brilliant.
this crazy kind of period of time, but yeah, really good. And we've got Catherine Grace O'Connell to thank, haven't we, for our introduction. That's the power
Yes,
of
we
social
have.
media.
We have, yes. I mean, and what a wonderful, amazing woman she is. She's such an
Yes.
inspiration to us all, I think.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And that's the power of social media. It gets a bad rap, but
Yeah,
I think for our age group, it's such a brilliant way to connect and network with one another.
completely, completely. And you're a total inspiration as well. I love after she introduced us, I remember looking on your Instagram and I was like, oh wow, amazing. I wish, it, it inspires me to be half of that. And I think, I think I've done a great job.
Oh, well,
So
thank
well
you.
done, you.
Well, I'm just so glad that we've connected, and we've got so much to talk about. It's knowing where to start. My first question I ask all my guests: how would you describe yourself today with 3 words, and why?
3 words. So I would describe myself as driven. I always like to have a goal. And I always, yeah, like to find a way to get it. I think with that, then the next one is I have an inquisitive or inquiring. I don't mind, so I'm always curious about things. My husband always says to me, "They should have called you Alice." Because it's Alice in Wonderland. It's think of 9 impossible things before breakfast, and that's that's me. That's what I do. And then the other one would be compassionate. I'm a very heart-led person. I would describe myself as being a heart-led entrepreneur. I I gravitate towards things I love, things I feel strongly for, and that not only goes for product, doing things, but also with people as well. Um, I work with really, I create sort of really beautiful connections with people that happen quite organically in terms of, all that, people talk about networking. And I would admit I'm not a great networker. I find it's something that sort of comes from, a spark. And in the same way we met as well. It was sort of we met, we had a chat, and there was just something really effortless where there's an innate sort of intuitive connection. Similar
Yeah.
thing with Catherine as well.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you. And I
Mm.
completely get that about the networking. If someone asked me if I was a good networker, I would say no, but I am drawn to people and I love finding out about people. So that for
Yes.
me is a really kind of the way I do it. But if I was to go into a networking event that I just didn't know anybody at all, I would be so out of my comfort zone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So, I said in my introduction, you have got this love of passion, but how does somebody go from starting as a receptionist with Ted Baker to then working their way up to buying director to then taking that leap of faith and starting up on your own? What was the kind of inspiration to start Ellie Room in the first place?
I I have always loved the creative process, and as I said before, I've got an inquisitive mind. So what I loved about my role at TED was the creating of beautiful clothing, and then with that, when we were very much encouraged to work, so we'd see it from the sketch pad to the shop floor, and very. I loved being on the shop floor and seeing when someone tried something on, that look they get on their face when they've found it, when it's found its home, when it's found its. I mean, that brings me joy. And I got to a point in my career where I felt I wasn't doing that so much, and I wanted to do it with my voice rather than the voice of Ted Baker. And I also noticed throughout my career as well that women in our age group are not really spoken to. You get spoken to as a 20-year-old, so be what the Gen Zs now, and we sort of praise or idolize youthfulness,
Mm.
and that's the imagery that we're shown all the time. um, and then you're spoken to, I think, almost when you're seen as sort of almost a geriatric, so a very old, you know, someone that's, I'd like to think older than us. So I think there's a real void in the middle, in that middle pinch. It's sort of like an hourglass, you could say. There's not much in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think, but that's where the real pinch point is in life. You sort of have maybe been through, if you've had children, but I think you get to a point where there's sort of something in you kicks in, and you maybe want to do something new, which is what I did. And you also maybe start to question things a little, that you accepted a little bit more than you did in the past. So I really noticed that gap, and I felt I had something in me that I wanted to share. Again, because I really have come to believe that how you dress, your mood, your mindset are totally interwoven. I don't know if you know, but the first 20 minutes of your day really set the bar for the next 20 hours.
Wow.
And yeah, and if I can give someone one thing, whether that's a dress they can throw on and know that they're ready for anything, ready to power through the day, or perhaps it's a little mindset, because I teach yoga as well, a little mindset tip or trick that helps you get through the day, or helps you reset through the day when you get that that email you didn't expect, or that phone call, or there feels like there's always something that sort of can trip you as to what you thought the day was going to be. But rather than spending time sort of dwelling on it, turning it into your day, resetting so you can move forward. I've also, again, with the way the fashion world has been, there's been a lot of noise around, I don't like this word so much, sustainability, because nothing's sustainable,
Yeah.
but mindfully creating things so that things are responsibly sourced.
Mm.
Um, the design is timeless, so it becomes a wardrobe. I mean, the first thing is, if someone wants to buy something new, that they have it in their wardrobe for a very long time. They wear it time and time again.
Yeah.
So I think
Because I'm
that's
right in
really
thinking that
important.
you produce and design and do everything from London, so it's all done in the UK,
Yes,
which is
yes. So it's all
brilliant.
done. Yeah, it's all done locally. The factory's about
I
two
love
miles
that.
down the road, and I didn't actually know um, how much was on my doorstep and at my fingertips till I looked, and then I thought, what was I doing walking around with my eyes shut?
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like the pattern cutters near where my boys went to primary school. Yeah, the factory's a little bit further along, but yeah, it's amazing what an industry we have here that I don't think enough people know about.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, it's
how
quite
did it,
sad.
sorry. So how did
Oh,
you feel when you took that leap, and kind of how did you notice in and thought,
oh,
right, this is it, I'm going to do this?
you kind it's it's that sort of nervous, excited, intrepidation. So there's a fear and an excitement, which are the same emotion in a way. It's just which side of the coin
Yes.
you look at with it.
Yeah.
So it was mainly excitement, and it still mainly is excitement. Uh, so it was like, what if I don't? It's almost like, what have I got to? If I don't do this, if I don't try this, I hate a what if. It's kind
Mm.
of what inspired me to move and live over here for a while, because I didn't want to have that what if, and go around thinking what if, and that's what inspires me, encourages me to try new things, because I don't want to think, just sit there thinking, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? If I go out and try it, then I know.
Yeah. And that's the thing that puts so many people, holds so many women back actually, that it's
Mm,
that fear of trying something
yeah,
different and what if it doesn't work, but at least you'll know, and it's never a
mm,
failure because you can always learn so much from it, but it can
yeah.
be a real barrier, can't it, to moving
It
forward.
completely, and I think to sort of shine it in a different way, unless you're in actual mortal danger, fear is just an emotion, and it's being able to recognize that, and that's where sort of I think the yoga and the wellness and the mindfulness has really helped me over the years, and that's why I want to share it with people, because it's not about being flexible. It's not about being, spending hours doing lots and lots of yoga, and it's not about meditating for hours on end. Again, with those things, there's so many people go, oh, I'm not flexible, or I'm not good at meditating. They're not things you need to be good at. They're things you do.
Mm,
And if you do them, it really makes, well, for me, it's made a huge difference to my life, my perspective.
mm.
And I want to share that with other people because it is so accessible. It's in us already.
Yeah. And it seems that the yoga and the brand and your ethos behind Eluroom is really, it's very synchronized with the yoga and the meditation and mindfulness. I love the
Mm,
fact that they're kind of
mm,
interwoven, aren't they, really? Because it is
yeah,
about well-being.
yeah. Well, Eluroom actually means joy of life in Estonian. That's where my
Oh,
father's from. And I love that they have one word for that. And Um, I mean, joy can seem like a lofty ambition, and I will be the first to admit I don't wake up bursting with joy every morning. And again, so that's what brings it back to, having something you can throw on when it's a busy morning, hectic day, or and then again having perhaps a little mindset to start the day with an intention,
mm, yeah,
and that's where I like to combine the two.
yeah,
Again, all the dresses are made, so they're made using fabrics that feel beautiful on your skin. When you put them on, they feel silky and lovely. And they're also a weight that you can wear them in summer, or then you can wear them through winter. Lay it up like I've got mine on at the moment with a nice thermal layer
yeah.
underneath. But you can wear knitwear over the top as well. So there's so many different ways you can style it, different ways you can wear it, and I love when people share with me the different ways they have styled and worn their dress. Um, so
Yeah.
that, again,
Showing their
that's so much fun.
personality.
Completely,
Yeah.
completely. Which brings it back to that. It's all interwoven. You have a day where maybe you're not, not feeling, you wake up, it's a gloomy day even, and you throw on a bright color and suddenly it lifts you, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And I think the other thing that I always love is there's because I do a few metallic things in the collection as
I've
well,
seen
which
the
I'm sure
gold
you've
dress. The
seen.
gold dress is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So for me, metallics are neutral. I say to everyone, I say, if you when you go next to buy a pair of shoes, start with shoes or a bag, make it a metallic one, because you can easily switch anything that's like navy, black, grey. You can switch that into a metallic, and it suddenly gives your your wardrobe, a whole new lease of life.
Yes, yeah, and it's actually getting people to step out their comfort zones, because I think lots of women might
Completely.
see gold or silver as
Yeah.
being something that they've maybe historically just worn for a special occasion,
Yeah,
and actually it's a colour that
exactly.
you should just be wearing every single day to make
Yeah,
yourself feel good.
completely. Because it makes the occasion.
Yes, yeah, we don't need to save things for best anymore. That's the
I mean,
mentality we
yeah,
need to
that's
shift.
completely, completely. Because I was asked the other day, someone said to me, "What would you recommend in terms of if someone just were like, I hate my clothes, I hate my wardrobe, want to change?" And I said, "Well, the first thing I would actually do is go and look what is in really look at your wardrobe objectively. Look at what you already have, because it's shocking, but about 80% of our wardrobe goes unworn."
Mm,
And when we spend so much money on it, that's like a huge loss.
yeah,
So go in and look. And an easy thing you can do is, you know, the clothes that you wear for the week, hang them a different way, hang them on a different hanger. And when you get to the end of the week, you will see a pattern in what you've worn. You will see the things that you gravitate to. And then you look at them and you go, what do I like about it? Do I like the cut of it? Do I like the material? The way it feels on my skin? The way it feels on me? Do I wear more dresses? Do I wear more trousers? Do I wear more skirts? And then you'll very clearly see you've got a capsule. That's your kind of base wardrobe essentials. And then you look and see, well, what are the gaps there? What do I need to fill that out?
Mm.
And that's when I say go a step further. Look at your wardrobe lurkers. Look at look at the things that maybe you save for a special occasion, or maybe you've got a fond memory. Look at them and see how they could slot in and start to wear them more, because there's things like you said, we save it for best. Well, what is best?
Yeah.
If you like it, wear it. And then from there, you'll see what the gaps are. And maybe if you do need to go out and buy something, there's a wealth of tools now with Instagram, Pinterest. There's actual wardrobe building platforms you can tap into. And some of them have a sustainable message with it, which is even better.
Yeah.
And then from there, curate your list, curate your look. And when you do go shopping, whether it's in the store or online, do it from a place of joy, not a place of I have to.
Yes.
Um, because I think, again, out of all the purchases we make, the clothing is probably the one we give the least thought to. And often it can be hard to be objective about it because it's something that we wear on us. Uh, which is why if you sort of have this framework to start with, it you know, it gives you it's almost like a shopping list or a recipe list. You just fill in the
I
blanks
love
there, and
that.
it's far less overwhelming.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm going to do that. I love that idea of hanging everything separately once you've worn it during the week and then seeing what you've worn. I love that
Yeah.
idea. Really good. And
Yeah,
what
let
I
me know
love
how you
about,
go.
yeah, I will do. And what I love about Eluroom is you design clothes that look equally as good on a 20-year-old and a 60-year-old. There's no kind of, you don't have to be a certain age to wear any of your clothes. And
Oh,
I
no,
love that
this is
freedom that is
yeah.
so lacking on the high
And
street.
and people should themselves with it as well. It's
Yeah.
like, I've gotten to this age, I should be doing this and I should be wearing that, and I should be cutting my hair this way, and I shouldn't be wearing a skirt above my knee. Another thing, and I must admit I'm not good at doing this, is but looking at yourself, like really looking at yourself in the mirror, um, and looking at it from a place of kindness.
Mm.
Um, because again, this can start with your morning routine, and it's something that, and Catherine and I've spoken a lot about this as well, because I get all, I'm not doing it, but you can do it even when you're brushing your teeth. Is just look at your face and say the positive, like say at first, I see you, or hello. How often
Yes.
do we wake up and we don't even say hello to ourselves, do we? You
Yeah.
can just say hello, and you can do that, in your head. We can look at yourself, and you can do, yeah, it's a simple thing. When you're brushing your teeth, just do it. And it's a great way to start off, just looking at you and
Yeah.
you objectively and from a place of kindness. But then taking it further, it's actually looking at your whole body. Our bodies change all the time. Everyone has a unique body. As a yoga teacher, you see that so much more, that there's no, I mean, even our two halves are not identical.
Mm.
And it's working with that and appreciating, what you love about your own body. Have you got, fantastic legs you want to show off, or is there something, your neckline or your waist or your hips, there's something. And if you come from a place of kindness, you can then accentuate that with what you wear. And I think that
Absolutely.
helps you to be braver with what you wear, the colors that you wear.
Yes.
um
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is a sense of freedom that comes as you get older, because you do start to worry less about what other people think, and you start really
mm,
connecting with yourself. You can really find yourself again later in life, which I
mm,
think is a really exciting time. And with that comes expressing yourself through your clothes, and that can change on a day-to-day
yeah,
basis for me. I can wake up one morning and want to have a completely different look to the day before, and we don't
yeah.
have to conform, do we?
No, completely, completely. And I think where a lot of people have gotten scared is perhaps when they're in their teenage years, because there's certain fashions, but then with that there's also certain trends in body shape and fashion. And
Yes.
if that doesn't suit your shape, regardless of if you're 15 or 50,
Mm.
you get nervous about that. But it's realizing that's an image to sell things, to sell
Yeah.
products, to
Yeah.
sell a whatever they want to push at that given time. And once you can really look at that objectively, um yeah, the world, there are no shoulds, there are no musts. There's, if you like it, wear it. There are no rules.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because you have been in the fashion industry for a long time now. So you have
Mm.
changed, you have seen all these seasonal fads of body shapes in the
Mm.
fashion industry. And then do you think we have genuinely started to make progress when it comes to diversity, inclusion, sizes, or do you think it's still kind of tokenism and we've still got a long way to go?
It's the needle's shifted slightly, but I
Mm,
would say if you're thinking of a clock, it's moved to, you know, from midnight, it's maybe moved to the 5 past.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
think I think the first thing is, we've been talking a lot more about it,
Mm,
and I think that's a great step. There've been slight changes, but there's so much more to be done.
yeah.
So much more to be done.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm guessing,
it's
Eluroom is your freedom. You can do what you want with this brand now, which is really exciting, isn't it?
it is, and it's always good to have that reminder as well, because I think you get, after so many years of working in one way, being one way, like that in the corporate world, in a company, in a business, and then when you realize, you think, why am I doing this because I want to? And
Yeah.
then why am I making myself do this? Like, there might be an aspect of my job that I've thought I've had to. And
Mm,
then I second think that, and I think, well, why isn't it working? It's actually because I think, well, I don't actually really want to do it and believe in it. Why am I falling
yeah.
into that? Why am I shooting myself?
Yeah. So when you first left and took that leap of faith in yourself, had you already designed your collection before you started and before you left, or did it all come afterwards?
No, it came afterwards. So after I left, I went to India just to
Hmm.
have a complete change of scene. Just sort of to break that cycle of, like a hamster in a wheel,
Yeah.
just to break that. I went to India and they shut their borders the day after I arrived.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um, and then I came back to London the day of lockdown. So, but over the, look at my collection, you'll see, through a lot of the prints and things I've used, there's a vibe of that, and the colors that I use as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then certainly with the sari dresses, because and they're one of a kind pieces. But a lot of inspiration came from that. I was able to spend a lot of time just traveling, absorbing, colors, culture, all those sorts of things. And it really, and then also what you need when you're traveling, like in terms of what you wear.
Mm,
Mhm. So you want
yes.
something like, you don't want to travel looking like like, you've just rolled out of bed. And it is actually quite limited as to what there is that you can easily travel in. So that sort of started to form the idea, because I wanted things that were easy to wear, easy to look after. So a lot of the inspiration came from the time in India in terms of color, print. But then the actual practicality side was, living out of a backpack, how I could still walk around feeling comfortable yet
Mm,
looking, chic.
yeah.
And so that's where I thought, right, it's a dress. And it's something that doesn't crease, because I hate ironing. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
me too.
more
I'm with you there.
there's more to life than doing ironing.
Yeah.
And I bet if most people looked at their wardrobe, they find the things they have to iron are the things that get worn the least.
Yes.
So, and that's where I started to think about the fabrication. So the dresses, the Eluroom dresses, you can rinse out in a hotel sink, hang up, and they're dry the next day to wear. You don't
How
need an
fab is
iron.
that? I love
Um,
that.
so that whole practical sense in the traveling really was the thing that I thought, and you can throw a dress on, and you can do so, the way these are cut, you can do so much in them. Yeah, so that's where the whole thing started. But
But
I
I'm
would
guessing,
say
sorry, go
it
on.
was there was a journey within all of that as well.
And
Of
also,
yeah,
it couldn't have been at a worse time, could it? During lockdown, the pandemic, there must have been moments
oh,
when you just thought, "How is this? How am I going to get through this?"
completely. What I think it helped me was actually finding the local sources,
Mm.
because doing something in another country with another country was going to be incredibly problematic, because it would be all by email. I guess there's Zoom, but it's not quite the same as being there in person.
Yeah,
Um, when you want to, I can go down to the factory, I can take fabric with me, I can take the patterns with me. So that really led to the whole doing something quite locally. Um, so that I think it encouraged me to make those, to look for that and find that, and make that happen, which I think is important. Um, and certainly important to what the brand is about. So that gave me that opportunity. Um, yes, but I will be quite frank, and there were moments where I was thinking, what have I done? What am I doing?
yeah,
But I think everyone had that, didn't they?
yeah,
Um,
definitely. And I think it was a
what?
real time of evaluation and of
Yeah,
really kind of listening to what you want out of the next decade
com-
or and this kind of
completely,
reset time.
completely,
Yeah.
completely.
So what
Yeah.
held your belief then? Because there could have been a tipping point where you thought, actually, this isn't going to work. This is the wrong time and I can't do this. Was there ever a moment where you just really had to have a proper talk to yourself and say, actually, you can do this, Rebecca, this is going to work? Did you always know it was going to work, or did you?
I have those moments. I still do have them.
Mm,
Um, and I think it's where um, I actually, do you know what? I love a list. I love a to-do list. And I not only have one maybe for the day, but when I look at my roadmap of what I want to do with my business, when I have that wobble, I look at that and I go, you know what? I've actually done that and more.
yeah,
And I think it's when you pause and almost treat yourself, because I'm a solopreneur, I'm all by myself all the time. But
yeah,
if I treat myself like almost an employee and break down all the things I do into each. If I had a team of people, there'd be the person doing the design, the person doing the marketing, the
mm,
person doing the retail, all of those things. If I break all of my roles down and think, oh, well, I've done that.
yeah,
Good on you, Rebecca, that does the design, and good
yes,
on you, Rebecca, that does the production. If I break it down that way, it I can give myself a little reward, or thank myself for doing that, rather than the bubble, because becomes a cloud of overwhelm if
yeah.
you think of the whole enormity of it, and it's taking it a step at a time.
Do you think your yoga and meditation has helped you in that as well? Because I know that you've loved yoga for a long time, and then you've got your qualifications. You're now a teacher.
Yeah,
Just another thing to
yeah.
add into what you've been up to, which is amazing.
It, yeah, it certainly has. And I was one of those people. I did yoga for a long time, and it wasn't really until I had children that I appreciated it. And it wasn't really so much from going to an hour class. It was what I knew of the practice and being able to do it in those fleeting moments where they were maybe asleep or getting up a bit earlier before they did, and just maybe doing a little a little vinyasa, or a little bit of meditation. And it was having those little flashes that really helped me, get back into being myself,
Yeah,
and giving me that space. And from that, I continued to do that. Started going to classes more once the boys got older, and then yeah, did my yoga teacher training. And certainly those things, yeah, have made a big difference in my life. Whether I was working for a company, being a mother, all those, every aspect brings it back to finding that that space for me,
mm,
um, connecting back into being in the moment, rather than letting that internal narrative that we identify with as being us, but it's only a part of us,
yeah,
got a whole other part of our body here. But being able to just observe that and take check on it.
Yeah, I love that, and I
Mm.
love the fact that you've got such a positive attitude, and it seems to me that you don't let anything hold you back, and I love the fact that you're learning stuff all the time. You're learning new stuff. You've learned to
Oh,
be a teacher. You've learned how to do all the different stages to setting up your business, and it's just that message is so important for women of our generation to say that there's never a cut-off point when you can start
oh,
something new.
completely. And certainly the journey of my business so far, I have learned. I never thought I would set up a website. I never, you know, there's all these things that I never in a million years would have even, thought of doing or attempting to do. And then you do it, and
Mm.
it's just it brings, and it kind of brings a whole new lease of life, a new perspective on life.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're never too old and it's never too late.
No, absolutely. And it's never
Yeah.
too late to dream big. So I'm interested to see, what's your kind of 5-year goal for Eluroom? How would you like to see it grow?
Uh, One of them is to have, just quite out for the day, sort of having an endless sun. So I've set it up so I don't always have to be in one place. So
Yes.
it's being able to, I prefer the warmer weather, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
Yeah. Well, coming from
I
Australia originally, I get
I
that.
I love it this time of year and coming out to Christmas. Love a cold Christmas, that's all amazing, but get sort of to the end of January and those February doldrums. So one of the things is to really have it, that it can be I can be anywhere in the world and the
Mm.
business is working. I can do my business. That's one of the 5-year goals. The other one is really just to have a team. I would love to have a team. I
Yeah.
am used to having a team, and there are times when it does get very lonely.
Yeah.
The dog is my consultant. Yeah, so to build a team, and I would like to have something in bricks and mortar.
Yes. Because I know you've got a pop-up shop at the moment, haven't you?
Yes,
How long's that
which
running
is
for?
this that runs until the 21st of December.
Right.
Um, and which is exciting.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the idea of the shop would be that it's a world of, there'd be things you could buy, you could go and do yoga, so it's a really I can't say the word
Yes. Experience.
experiential,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
because I think that's what retail needs to be about now.
Yeah, I do. And I
I
think people need the story behind the clothes as well. And that's what
mm,
I love about talking to people like you is to find
mm,
out the story behind the clothes, which we don't
mm,
often get in some of these bigger chains where you don't get it at all.
mm,
And I think that's why it's really important to champion the work that you're doing because, look at the story behind the clothes. They mean
yeah.
something.
And I think that's where people are looking for that. I think that's
Mm,
where, we won't, there won't be the big chain thing so much, but kind of return to the old school, when you went to your high street and there'd be like the greengrocer, the butcher,
yeah.
the hairdresser, then there'd be the dress shop or
Yes.
the men's tailoring shop. And you'd go back there every season because it becomes it's a person that you trust.
Yeah.
They're going to they know what you like, they know you, and they can tell you, oh, look, we've got this fabulous new new dress in, or this fabulous new thing for you. And you're like, and it's doing that not only in real life, but actually through social media,
Yeah.
through online shopping, that same experience that you can,
Yeah.
have that real connection.
Definitely. I mean, how many
Mm.
how many pieces do you kind of how many collections do you do a year? And do you put yourself under pressure or do you just do it when you feel the inspiration coming?
So I've got 6 signature silhouettes.
Right.
So they're all based on classic sort of vintage silhouettes. So you've got a shirt dress, ultimate wardrobe essential. Then you've
Yeah.
got a more contemporary version of a shirt dress, which is a bit more skatery style. It's got a grandad collar rather than regular collar. Then there's a skater dress, which is kind of a tunicky type silhouette. Then you've got a maxi dress, which is incredibly versatile, and then you've got a wrap dress. So it's those key shapes, and then there's a new one that's an in-store exclusive at the moment, that gold one.
Yes.
So so it's working on those signature shapes that then I do in a myriad of colors, because I use the dresses are made from either dead stock material, which means if I didn't use them, they'd end up as landfill, the vintage saris. And then I have made a couple of new things using recycled polyester and FSM viscose, which viscose, I don't know if you know, comes from trees. So when they use the tree, they replace the tree. So it's more circular.
Right. Yeah.
So with the dead stock material, often there's not a huge amount of it, and it's finding the right things. I work roughly to 2 drops a year in terms of different colors, different prints. But again, because I'm using those sources, if I don't find it, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna beat myself up on it. I don't have a catwalk collection to present at,
Yes.
at a set calendar.
Yeah.
And I don't, again, I think this is where we fall into that whole, if you fall into any fashion cycle, whether it's the catwalks, the designer, or the fast fashion, essentially they're pushing to, they have the catwalk to sell things. And so there's that pressure of it, where it's actually, when you talk to the people that work behind it, it's not sustainable. How many people actually really do buy clothes that often or need to?
No. Yeah.
And it perpetuates all of that. So it doesn't matter what level of the market you're at, there's that sort of tapping into our need, our want, something innate in us that always wants to have more, buy, which they tap into very well.
Yeah. And I love the fact that your business is very much heart-led. I love that. How can people find it, Rebecca? What's the website address?
So it's www.eluroom.com. So that's spelled E-L-U and then room. That's the website. I'm also stocked on Wolf and Badger.
Oh, brilliant.
And Silk Thread. So they're, and again, some people are members of those things, join up, so they get, little perks and tips and things. But I mean, you can always get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help in whatever way, shape, or form. And then you'll also see me on Instagram, and you can click through to the shop from that, and Facebook. And again, it's Eluroom with an underscore at the end, and you get through to those.
I shall share all those links.
I do various pop-ups as well. So if you join my newsletter, you'll be the first to find out about those. They sort of happen. This is my last one, obviously, for this year, because I'm not going to squeeze one in between the Twixmas. And there'll probably be one towards the end of January. They're London-based. I'm in New York at the moment, too, in a pop-up, and that finishes at the end of the year as well.
Amazing. Well, I hope that next year, I hope in 2023, I can catch up with you and meet in person to one of your pop-ups. That would be fab. I'd love that.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah. Definitely.
My last question that I ask all my guests, Rebecca, if you were to pay yourself a compliment, what would it be?
Rebecca, you are unstoppable.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Fabulous, you are. And I can't wait to see how it grows and to see more beautiful women wearing your clothes, because they really are a treat. So well done, you. I think it's fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me today.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's been so lovely to speak to you.
Pleasure. Take care and good luck with everything.
Take care.
So I hope you enjoyed listening to Rebecca Rodden's story of how she started Eluroom and why, and the journey that she's been on. And I love the idea of how we can really look at the clothes that we're wearing and what we might need, and creating a more sustainable well-being wardrobe. So I'm going to take Rebecca's suggestion of wearing our outfits each day, hanging them up, keeping them separate, and seeing what you've worn during the week. And I will share that with you on social media over the next coming weeks. I have got my eye on a really beautiful gold dress that Rebecca has designed, and if I do, I will definitely be sharing that with you on social media. But I would recommend you go and check her out, and I'll share all the links. But Eluroom, it really is, the really beautiful classic pieces with a twist that aren't just, there's no age bracket. You can wear clothes in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and and we can style them how we want to suit our personalities. And I love that idea to step away from those boxes that the fashion industry so like to put us in because of our age. So it's a refreshing conversation to have with Rebecca today. I will be back with more inspiration, but in the meantime, keep being fabulous.